Hey guys, back in the Repkord 3D printer room here, and I wanted to take a moment to talk about the Creality CR-30s as they apply to a fabrication facility like this. I know there's a lot of videos out there already on build guides for the CR-30, unboxing, all that stuff. I'm not going to do that. I wanted to be able to offer you guys a unique perspective on what it's like having these things running 24/7 as a tool in a fab shop. Okay, so what I want to focus on today are three main things: quality, reliability, and durability / maintainability, which are related. So let's dive in on quality. When I was first getting started on the CR-30, I threw this little promo piece that we do called the Rep Saver at it, and this is something we include with every rep box. Bruce has got his Haribo, we've got our Lifesavers. As you can see here, this actually is a decent print. I'm not going to say it's great. You can see, you know, there's definitely a little bit of warping at the base. It printed this way. I put this box here at the bottom of the printer, and it has been just spitting these things out non-stop. Prior to having any tuning and stuff done, it wasn't certainly anywhere near the best print I've ever seen, but I would say it's passable for a part like this. It got the branding on there. The detail on the lettering is sufficient. It's interesting to see as well how overhangs as it relates to a belt printer, printing on a 45 is different. Obviously, things that a normal printer might handle with ease are looked at a little bit differently when you slice them on the 45. What's really kind of cool to see, this is a good look right here. Look at how dramatic this overhang is right here. You wouldn't get that clean of an overhang with a standard printer, so that's kind of a neat look at that. Got a little bit of stringing here going on, maybe some temperature tuning to do, but all in all, I'm very happy with how the part tune, the slice tuning is coming along on this. As I say, I think it's only going to get better. As far as build quality goes, I'd say it was a really good start. There were a lot of good design choices made on this machine that I think will have a lot of promise for continual use operation. The extrusion system is a good example of that. Obviously, the main heart of any good printing system is its ability to push filament, and the choice to use the dual hobbed with the geared drive is good, all metal. Obviously, we've got a good amount of Bowden tune we've got to work through. So for PLA, it looks like we've got a pretty decently well-tuned profile right now. As other materials start to come online, obviously there's the devil's in the details in terms of getting your retraction tuned and stuff like that. But I think there's a lot of opportunity there. Glad to see a runout sensor. Obviously, that's going to be critical when you're automating and just wanting the machine to run. You're not going to be around to babysit it. I love that everything is metal on here. Good choice. High-end stuff, gates, belts all around. The Core XY system is just really fun to watch. It'll be very interesting to see how the eccentric nut roller carriage style setup hangs in there over time. Obviously, there's a lot of people that have seen this right off the bat and they said, oh, this is a great candidate for updating with linear rail. You might be right. I don't know if that's necessary. Obviously, I think Creality did the right thing in terms of starting with something that's a known entity for them and keeping the price point down so that more people can get in and adopt and work on it. So from a reliability standpoint, I think we're in the time will certainly tell area. I will say that after running it for about 10 days straight, I did run into my first failure today. I shared that on Twitter. If you didn't see that earlier, the PTFE tube started to melt and deform inside the hot end. My temps were at 227 PLA temperatures, maybe on the higher side for PLA, but obviously after running for 10 days straight, that non-stop heat took its toll on just this cheap PTFE tube. And so I replaced it with cap tubes, which is good to over 300C. What's really interesting to me is that 3D printing designers are really going to have to start thinking more and more about designing for 24/7 operation now, that's actually viable with a machine like this. Up until this point, you really don't have that kind of opportunity, save for some kind of very exotic plate changing system or some very high-end industrial automation systems. But something like this, as long as you can keep it fed with filament, it will just go and go and go and go and go. Looking at it from this side on reliability, the electronics is probably the #1 question mark. Mechanically, everything's sound, all metal, no printed parts on this thing. Everybody's talked about it before. It's a beast. It's heavy duty. It weighs a ton. You can stand on it, all that stuff. That's great. As far as how well the board and electronics will hold up, again, time will tell. Nothing super special going on here. The good news is that the parts are fairly common. Should be easy to get a hold of, easy to replace if need be. We're not doing any fancy touchscreen, you know, standard tried and true click wheel, which is good. It is nice to see that they use the full size SD cards. I really hated how the Enders used the small one. So anyway, good on you for that as well, Creality. Yeah, all in all, good cable management, good choice of connectors. Was really happy to see the attention to the grounding details. So all the parts of the frame are grounded. The extruder, there's a ground wire on there, and down in the main board area and stuff too. So obviously they've thought of all of that, which is great. Now, maintainability. They did a great job of packing a whole bunch of extra things in the box. Just to look at it, this is one of my favorites. I already used one of the things out of here. Obviously 2 extra nozzles, which is good to have. I don't know, I need to look up if these Mark 8 style nozzles are special to the CR-30 or if they are the same ones. Obviously, these would work on something like an Ender or anything that has the same threading. The question is if they've done any extra milling to the point or turning to the point so that it works on that 45 and doesn't drag on the belt. I'll look into that and report back. Also, obviously, getting the little clips to take the slop out of the Bowden tube. And there was another piece in there that I actually already used today. I had to replace the pneumatic connector that holds the Bowden tube in because, as I'd mentioned, when the nozzle clogged, our extruder was so strong, it just pressed the tube straight out of there, tore the teeth out and everything. So nice strong extruder, which is good to see. Already used that spare part. Thank you for including that, Creality. Good thinking. Nothing really jumping out at me as far as like parts that are going to be difficult to maintain. I think the biggest question is obviously the belt, how readily available these will be, because I have to imagine these will wear over time. We don't know how long. We're going to have to find out. Okay, I'm walking this beast out of the print room right now because I wanted to actually see how much it weighs. So we're going to slap it on the old shipping scale. Look at that, it really fits on there. What's the prediction? What do we think? It's going to weigh 34.7 pounds, which is 15.75 kilos. That's a beast. Okay, one last thing I had to try because I can. We're going to stand on it. I know. I'm going to probably catch hell for this because there's absolutely no point, and why would I want to potentially damage it? But I have to say, it's not even flinching. A testament to the strength of triangles, for sure. It's actually quite comfortable up here. Not a bad place to hang out. So one last thing I wanted to show you guys that I thought was fun. This is a little hack that I did. I also teased that last week on Twitter for trying to tune a PetG profile for this. Unfortunately, I still can't get PetG to reliably stick to this particular belt. I know when I was up at Joel's place, he had a newer version, or excuse me, he had the older version of the belt, which actually was a little fuzzier, that PetG actually stuck to better. So it would be interesting to see if Creality could potentially make different belts available for different materials. We know that it can be done. There's absolutely nothing about the printer that suggests that it's not capable of doing it. I think it's just a matter of getting the right material for it to stick to. This silly little hack that I did with, I took a textured PEI sheet and we added some magnets to help kind of hold it down as it gets started. This is not meant to be any kind of long-term solution. This was really more just so I could get a print and so I could play with retraction settings and stuff. As you can see on my first pass here with PetG, there's a lot to be left to be desired here in terms of getting it tuned. Namely, I would say in the retraction department. An interesting thing of note: the magnets definitely help hold it down, but not to the point where it's stalling out the belt. It would take a lot to stall this belt out. It's on a geared motor. It's got a good amount of torque. It's not meant to move fast. It's meant to move consistently and over a precise distance. They did a great job with that. One other thing that we noticed, though, the steel plate that the heater is on is solid and magnetic, and so it helps for that. But when you get off here to the cooling plate or the offload plate or the off-ramp or whatever you want to call it, that's aluminum. So the magnets won't necessarily do anything. I honestly don't think they're that necessary because there's a good amount of friction just between this. So just as long as it's got a little bit of downforce to get you started, and so that it's not twisting around on you, it seems to work. But again, not a long-term solution. I'm in it for the automation. I want to be able to non-stop print, not to necessarily have to tend it to replace plates or things like that. So anyway, I thought that was another fun little thing. All in all, I'm super excited about this technology. I think that this is really just the beginning for belt printing. This is going to help drive the technology forward and actually start making people think more about using your 3D printer as a tool and not necessarily just a fun hobby piece. Yes, 3D printing for cosplay and swords and all that stuff is great and fantastic, but I think it's industrial and fabrication tools that help drive investment and development faster, and it's what I'm excited about. So smash, like, ring the bell, do all the things if you want to see more of these. And like I said, teaser, I'm going to do a follow-on once I've got the pallet hooked up, and we're going to see how long these things can actually run without fail. So tune in soon for that. Thanks for watching. Catch you soon.